Hello, everyone, and welcome to the King's Virtual Open House. Today, we have Dr. Karina Sandhu here with us to give us a little bit more information about the French department here at King's. We will begin our presentation, and then we will shift into a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send them to us through the chat function on Zoom. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Dr. Karina Sandhu for her presentation. Dr. Karina, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your interest in our French program at King's University College. And thank you for joining us. My name is Karina Sandhu, and I'm a professor of French at King's. Today, I will give you a short presentation of our French program. For this virtual tour of our program, I will be joined by 4 of our wonderful students who accepted to share with us today a few thoughts about their experience with French at King's. I will introduce them to you shortly. So let's start with a few words about the French program at King's. For this, I will share with you a few PowerPoint slides. So if you bear with me for a couple of seconds, I will share my screen with you. I'm sure all of you know by now, but just to make sure, a few words about what is King's University College. As you definitely know, King's is a public university college, a public Catholic university college that's affiliated with the University of Western Ontario. And as such, we offer what we like to say the best of both worlds, meaning that our students have access to a very large campus, Western's campus, with its programs and full resources. And our students have also the advantages of a small campus, as I will mention in a couple of seconds, with the degree programs in arts, social sciences, management, and social work. So advantages of studying at King's, as I said, first of all, the small classes that offer direct interaction between professor and students. We also have many tutoring programs. Our students have access to jobs on campus, to all the sports teams, to students' residencies. Our students are always in very close relationships with peers that reinforce, the results of study groups and many more activities, extracurricular activities. Now, let's focus for a little bit on the French program at King's. At King's, we offer a large variety, at King's, we offer a full range of French degrees, starting with the honors specializations in French language and literature, but we also offer a major and a minor in French language and literature. And also, our students have the option of French modules that can be combined with modules from other disciplines. That being said, what to do with a degree in French? Based on my experience as a professor at King's, most of our students choose a career in teaching, either as teachers of French in schools after completing the Bachelor of Education degree that follows the BA at King's, or as professors of French in colleges and universities, and for that it's required to have a master's degree and or a PhD. There's also the translation option, but I'll give you here a list with some of the countless options that are offered to graduate from a French program. As you might see, there are careers open in many areas. It's your choice, it's your opportunity. So the main advantage of studying French at King's, I should also mention this, is the agreement that we have with the Faculty of Education from Western So starting with last year, and I've seen that being taken into profit. One of the main advantages of studying French at King's is the recent agreement that we have with the Faculty of Education at Western that has been applied as last year, and many of our students have benefited from this option. So basically, this agreement offers our students who graduate with a qualifying GPA simply guaranteed admission to the primary, junior, junior intermediate, or intermediate senior stream at the Faculty of Education, meaning that these students do not have to apply, will skip the whole application process, the selection, the form fillings, and they can get directly into the Faculty of Education. Now, the French, a few words about the French program at King's, because we have mentioned the curricular activities, we have mentioned the degrees that we offer to our students. Now, some words about the extracurricular activities. I would start with our exchange program at Lille. We have options for our students who want to spend one full academic year or just one term abroad. We have an exchange with the Université Catholique de Lille. There's a selection process for students who want to apply for the program. So students would go there in their third year of study, and to do this, there are bursaries and sponsorships available. Next, our free tutoring service. Our senior students are always very glad to offer free advice to usually first-year students who need some more practice after classes, and this is done in the institutional framework. Our French student club is very active, and one of the student representatives that I have invited today could give you more information about the many interesting activities that the club is running on a weekly basis. We have reading clubs, usually with professors that offer these sessions of extra discussion, extra activities for required readings, field trips, and I will end this short presentation of the extracurricular activities by some active learning activities, meaning the experiential course that was offered this year in collaboration with the Department of History, and that resulted in a documentary movie. Last year we had the French Salon. 2 years ago we had a French cafe, and the students are always glad to be involved and to participate in such activities. Now, because our visitors today are prospective students, and I'm sure they have specific questions, especially related to their first year at King's, to their first year in the French program at King's. A few words about first-year French courses at King's. For 2 years, I had the privilege to teach a section of the first-year French courses at King's. So I'm here to welcome all questions that our prospective students might have today. In terms of placement, usually we place in a first-year French course at King's that qualifies for a French module or a French degree, all students coming from French core offered in high schools up to grade 11 or 12, and also students coming from French immersion. However, for anybody who might have questions or doubts or concerns about being placed in such a course, there's the option of a French placement test offered on our platform on OWL for students already registered at King's. There's always, and this is actually the best way to get an answer to all your concerns, the possibility to contact one of the French professors at King's, either myself or Dr. Susan Small, the coordinator of the French program. So just go on the website and send us an email. It's always a pleasure to get in touch with our prospective students. Anyway, for the first year French course required for all the French degree modules, that would be French 1910. As I said, our French representative who finished her first year at King's will say a few words later about this course. Just to let you know, this is one of the best experience I've had in terms of interactions and seeing and getting students enthusiastic about participating in French and opening up a whole world of information for them. As you see in the picture on the screen, that's one of my classes from 2 years ago when I had asked them to work in groups. So I think that would be it for my short presentation about the French program at King's. I will finish with this joyful picture from the French Salon in French Cafe in 2018. Now I will like to invite our French representatives to share their thoughts with us today. The first one is Caitlin McMahon. She has just finished her first year and she has brilliantly finished the first year the French first year course. What would you like to share with our visitors today?
Just finished my first year. I've always been someone that's been kind of uncomfortable with asking for help and like approaching that kind of situation. So the professors gave me that comfort. So I felt okay to ask for help. And especially with languages, I feel it's really important to ask for the help that you need, because learning a new language, or like even just focusing on your improving your skills in a new language, can be really challenging. I found this year in French a little bit easier just because I came from a French first language school.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. So Morgan is one of the instructors who are very active in our writing center. So what would you like to share with our visitors today, Morgan?
Hi, I'm Morgan, and something I really love about the French program is that beyond vocab and grammar and all that, I really get to learn about like French as a culture and the art and the history, and with being a lot of what I learn in both languages overlaps. So like eras like the Middle Ages, but you get to see in the French side, you get to see how what they value. So that's all that I love about the French program.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for this new, different perspective, and especially what I appreciate about this insight, how you managed to create to vision a new kind of bridge, between the English culture, the French culture. So thank you for sharing these thoughts with us. Now I will pass the torch on to Anastasia, who has finished her third year of study. If I'm not mistaken, Anastasia too is one of the students who are getting a degree in both English and French, right? Anastasia is also the editor-in-chief of the Regis, our student-led magazine with monthly issues, and she's doing an amazing job. So, Anastasia, if you want to share with us.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. I'm Anastasia. I just finished my third year at King's. I'm pursuing an honors specialization in French language and literature with a major in English. Coming into King's, I didn't come from a French immersion school. I actually came from core French, so I didn't learn everything in French. It was only one French class per year. So adjusting to first year French, the 1910 course, is a bit of a challenge. It's definitely a new, and it's not only a new environment, but really it's a new way to learn a language because everything is, you're completely immersed. Coming into university, I thought, oh, English is going to be my thing. That's what I'm going to study. But I really fell in love with the French language after first year and realized that this is something that I want to keep pursuing. You learn a lot about yourself as you experience new things, and you should never be afraid to take risks because really you're just learning from it, and university is a huge learning experience.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. I'm always so impressed every time after I get to have, more personal conversation with each of my students, and you can attest to this, that I'm always interested to getting to know my students outside the classroom. Now I will pass the torch on to John Fazio. So John, you were one of the ones who experienced the exchange program in Lille 2 years ago, and I had, during my experience at King's and elsewhere in other institutions, I had, the chance to see the boost in terms of culture knowledge, language skills, communication, just the openness, the open mind, that a student who is coming back from an exchange program or from the Explore program, the 5-year summer immersion study in a francophone province in Canada. So I had I had the chance to see, the amazing effects, the positive influence of an exchange student on of an exchange program onto a student. So, John, now that you're looking back to 4 great years of study in the French program, to looking back to 1 year spent in France, what would be the thoughts that you'd like to share with the prospective students?
Okay, yeah, did 4 years, so hopefully I have a little bit of knowledge I can share. But similarly to Anastasia, I was a core French student in high school, so I didn't have any immersion experience in going into the French program. That could be a little daunting, knowing that there's going to be other people being able to communicate a little better, perhaps at the start than you can. And that's perfectly normal. For me, I'm a firm believer of getting active, like outdoor sort of experience with the French language. And I'm not sure that you know this, Professor Sandu, but in my first year, I actually took my 1900 French course in Quebec with the Explore program. So I actually fulfilled that requirement early. So I was able to, okay, you did know that. But anyway, it was a good experience. Through that was probably the greatest improvement of French language, spoken and reading French language that I've ever experienced in my life. That really put me off on with a good foundation to move forward with the next 3 years of my education. And then being in the French program, I quickly learned about the Lille exchange program, and that looked like another fun opportunity for me. And so I applied and, luckily got in. And then in my third year, I was off to France, and it was really an incredible experience. I got to meet people from all over the globe, every continent. So now if I choose to travel, I always have a friendly face around. So that alone was worth it. Another thing, I learned a ton of French. So like I said with the Explore program, the change of French, so from a beginner's French level to, I'd say, like an intermediate French level, that change was probably the greatest in Quebec. However, the total amount of French that I actually did in fact learn, the most of that came from my experience in France. So that just comes from living your day-to-day life in French, just going to get groceries or going to the airport, because there's a lot of wonderful opportunities to go traveling during this experience. And I did. My parents actually wondered if I was really a student or not, but luckily my grades were all right. And then my roommate was Italian, so I got to, use some of the Italian that I had, and that substantially improved. So, that, I think the Lille exchange program marks the highlight of my undergraduate degree, and I was very happy to do it. And I've made memories and friends that, I'll never forget. So it was good. Recommend it for everybody.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you to all of you for sharing your thoughts with us. And again, congrats for your amazing accomplishments to each and every one of you. Congrats, John, for the degree and the best of luck. And as I always tell my students, we are here not to teach you. We professors at King's are always here to cheer for you and to be happy for your success, for your accomplishments. I always encourage my students to keep me updated. So John, don't forget to share your successes with us. This will wrap up our introduction, our presentation of the program. There would be some things that I haven't addressed, like the Explore program, but I'm sure our students who graduated from a high school program know the Explore program. So I will skip that, as we have a specific question asking me to develop the answer about the phrase, the first year French course, because we have a diversity of opinions ranging from somebody who found it quite unchallenging and just as a good way to like a good trampoline, for the French knowledge in university, and some others who have shared their challenge during the first year in terms of French knowledge, French requirements. It's true for students in their first year of study of French. At university, we are experiencing a very wide range of French, French knowledge, French experience, from students who are coming from French core courses in high school to students coming, a very good portion of our students coming from, and it's not easy. And for students who have doubts about their placement, I always encourage them to consult us, to consult the professors, to consult the French course, the French program coordinator, and you'll find our information on the website. If somehow, they still have doubts, there's a French placement available on OWL for students who have already registered at King's. So that's another option. But the safest bet is, once classes start, to talk to a professor. I will be teaching one of the first year courses, one of the sections of the first year French course in the fall. So I will be there to support you, and I'm addressing our visitors today, our prospective students. For any questions, please do not hesitate to send me an email. I'm here all the time, available to answer your questions. It's either myself or my colleagues, Dr. Susan Small, who's the coordinator of the French program, who will give you the best informed answer. So that for the level of French that the student is required to have, for some students is a breeze. For some others, it's a need to push a little bit to make sure that you stay on track. It's, I wouldn't say is not challenging, but I will guarantee that at the end of the course, at the end of the program, it's rewarding and it's a great experience. So as is, if you are there, if you have questions from our visitors today, we are ready to take them in.
Sure. So we have a question from a student saying, do you think someone who did University Core French 10 to 12 would be okay with the university level French class?
Usually, we do not get many students who are coming into their first year with French, with French, you know, not core, more than French immersion, just a full French high school from grades 1 to 12. There are exceptions. In case a student comes to us, that student, based on the result of the placement test, as I mentioned, the placement test is offered on our D2L, if you want, platform. Based on that result, based on consultation, on a session, on a discussion with the teacher, the professor, and our coordinator, the student will get permission to either register into this regular first year French course, that is French 1910, or special permission to skip this first year course and register directly into a more advanced language course and respectively culture or literature course. So if somebody has any particular concern about their level of French, am I fit to register into this particular French 1910, or I'm too good for that and I think that I should skip it and move forward, just a simple consultation with a professor of French at King's will solve the problem. If you're good, we can give you permission to go and be in a class with people who manage French at the same level as you.
Dr. Karina, I have a question for you. I have a student who is wondering if they could be in the French department, even though they haven't taken any French in high school or like throughout their education. So is it possible for a student who has no experience in French to start learning French in university?
Absolutely, that's a great question. At King's, we offer a wide range of courses from beginners to advanced levels in language, literature, translation, civilization. So in order to help everyone correctly choose their French course, there's a guide on the web page of the French program, but I'm happy to help. So for students who have never studied French or have less than grade 11 French core in high school, they should contact the French program, the French coordinator for appropriate placement. But just keep in mind that we have these 2 entry-level courses that precede the course that I mentioned earlier. So we have French 1002, the intensive French for beginners, and we have French 1010, intermediate French for these students who have never studied French, as you said in the question, and who are interested to start their career in French at universities. So yes, there are options, the possibilities are limitless. Just get in touch with us. We will be happy to answer your specific questions.
Perfect. Thank you. So another question that I have is that if students are interested in teaching, uh, what other teachables would you recommend?
It's not my place to recommend students because I don't have the experience and I'm not in an official position to recommend a teachable other than French to our students. I know that large majority of students who are taking French and who want to move on to become a teacher, also take a program or a degree in the Department of Catholic Studies for teachers. I know history is another teachable that is appreciated by our students. I know that social justice is among the other options, but what this student should rather do so with a teachable, one of the teachables being French, and if a student is interested in getting a second teachable, they should go look at the other programs offered at King's, and even I would recommend a consultation with an academic advisor. Among our student ambassadors, does somebody have another idea or somebody would like to add something, Anastasia?
Yeah, like just speaking from experience of what I've heard from my friends, a lot of people who aim to be French teachers do pursue the Catholic Studies for Teachers program, especially if you want to teach in a Catholic school. That gives you that background, and then couple that with French, and then you can go into like French immersion or core French in the Catholic School Board. As Professor Sandhu said, the history program is also popular. I know a lot of people pair French and history pretty well. Really, even if you want to, if you're interested in a subject that isn't offered at King's, you have the option to take it at main campus as well. In that case, I believe your major in French just has to stay at King's. But if you like science, for example, or like visual art, there are a ton of different courses to pursue at main campus as well. I know I myself have had to take a couple of courses at main campus to fulfill some degree requirements in the French program. And it's been great. I know a lot of people are scared of main campus being like a big place, but French classes and a lot of upper year classes are actually pretty small. And really, if you find what your interests are and you can pair that with French and really build up a degree in a program that works for you, you'll be able to apply it really any way that you want.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
I have also a question to our student ambassadors. If you could describe your experience at King's in one sentence, what would it be?
Caitlin?
Yes, I'm thinking. That's a really good question. I would say my experience at King's has been very welcoming, very comfortable. I haven't felt like super nervous about a lot of things. I would say like there's just a lot of opportunities. It's just very easygoing. Like it's a good transition from high school. It makes you feel comfortable with all of like the programs and everything that they offer to support you. So, and like very supporting too.
Thank you very much. Morgan?
I guess I would have to say enriched, I guess. I feel like I'm learning so much more things than I'd ever imagine. And I feel like my experience in the King's community has really been enriched ever since I took the French program. I feel like I've grown as a person a bit, so enriched, I guess.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Anastasia?
I definitely say that's a very inclusive place. It's a college where you're recognized for your achievements, and like professors aren't afraid to approach you and be like, "Hey, you did a good job on this. Is this something that you want to research more, or can I help you in any way?" It's a very supportive environment. Thinking back to my second year, I remember writing a paper on Little Red Riding Hood, and I didn't really think anything of it. But Susan Small, the French coordinator, she was my prof at the time. She was like, "This is really good." And I'm like, "Oh, awesome." So I had the chance to work one-on-one with her, and it was such a good feeling to be recognized and to be able to like further enrich, like Morgan said, enrich my French experience and my writing experience. And then later on, King's actually has like a research conference every year, and I got to present it, which was fantastic. So really, it's a very inclusive, supportive, caring, and it's a great environment. You want to come to King's, believe me, believe us.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. John?
Yeah, if I had to put it into one sentence, it'd probably be home away from home. It was really cool. Like, and I mean that literally and figuratively. Literally, I lived on Epworth, so I lived on the road. So it would take me 2 minutes to walk there, which was nice. But figuratively, like it's super great. Very warm environment. Anytime you go to the library, the SLC, there's always somebody you know. So it's really a supportive and welcoming environment.
Thank you, John. Aziz, are there any other questions for us?
Awesome. So we'll just discuss our last question here. So for the French program, what are the possibility of experiential learning other than the trip that John has mentioned? Is there more opportunities for experiential learning and community outreach?
We are working on some community outreach. Unfortunately, given this present circumstances, everything has had to come to a halt. As I said, we offer some courses that have a consistent experiential learning component. There are, as I said, other than the courses themselves, there are these opportunities on campus, the reading club, the French student club, interactions with students, interactions with professors. Apart from the exchange program, there's our Canadian summer immersion program. That's the Explorer, that offers equivalent transfer credits. So a student who is taking the Explorer over the summer gets actually the credits to their file at King's, and they can move forward, so they can skip actually French courses. So I think there is a good variety of active learning or experiential learning activities in the French program, and I hope that answers the question. Would somebody have something to add? Maybe I overlooked some information here from a student perspective.
I'm gonna actually expand on the Explore. So having done it, it was great. So just living in that environment, it's very interactive. But also there's a component where you get to do a placement. And so I did a placement at a long-term care home, and so I was able to help out there and speak French and really really use it day to day. So there's all sorts of interactive things. But that again would go along with the Explore, and same with the Lille Exchange. Yeah.
And should I say that the Explore program is offered on a yearly basis? So all they need to do is to fill up the application that's due in February, and the main Explore program that we offer is the one that runs through Western. So it's offered from an institutional with institutional credits, but the Explore program is much more wider than that. And if anyone is interested, I strongly encourage them to get in touch with one of the professors from the French department at King's, and we have more information about that, definitely. So yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you, Dr. Karita. So far, I don't have any more questions. I would like to thank you and thank all your student representatives for being here today and sharing your experiences. And I would like to thank everyone who's on this call and joining us. And we are excited to meet them hopefully in person soon. And if they have any questions, they can email us at kings@uwo.ca and we can direct them to you or any faculty member in French. Before we leave this call, I would give you and your student representatives the chance to kind of say your final comments or anything that you would direct to our future students.
Do it. It's a lot of fun. You'll have a lot of fun. So, you know, I'm excited for all of you guys. That's my closing.
So you would do it again, huh?
I would do it again. It was a great experience and it was invaluable.
Anybody else? Caitlin?
Yeah, so being a first year student, I would just having finished my first year, I would say be excited. Don't be nervous. It's a really great experience. And King's especially is such a great place to be. And I've loved my whole year, and there's just so many opportunities, so many fun things. So yeah, just be excited, and hopefully you make a great choice as to where you end up.
Anastasia?
I just want to reiterate my point about not being afraid to take risks. First year, it's really about trying new things, seeking out opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't. I know thinking back to my first year, I wasn't really super involved or active in the King's community. I kind of just went to classes and kind of went back to my room in residence, and that was it. So definitely that would be something that I would change, is go get involved, try something new, take a risk. Really, everything is a learning experience, and the more things you try, the more you'll learn. And that's really what life is all about.
Morgan, would you like to add something?
I think I would just say don't give up and listen to your professors, and always ask for help. If you're struggling, always ask for help, because you're never gonna really improve if you don't reach out your hand and ask for help.
Thank you so much. So my closing words would be first addressed to my students. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for being who you are, for being such great students, amazing individuals. Thank you so much for growing the way you grow. So if I were to give my closing remarks, it would be come to King's. We are here to welcome you, and it is my greatest joy as a professor to watch my students grow. It is, of course, an immense pleasure to share my knowledge with my students, but other than that, my mission does not stop when I close the door of the classroom, because every day I get to enjoy this amazing opportunity that is to see my students from the moment they start the university career to the moment they finish their 4 years of study, to see the way they have developed and to see that they are ready after 4 years at King's. They're ready now. They are better. They are amazing young adults, ready to start their life, ready to get onto a new challenge. So come at King's, do not hesitate. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. We really, really appreciate it. And then until next time, stay well and keep you safe.
Thank you, Aziz. Bye.
Bye-bye.